Welcome to the stream. Today is September 4th, 2019. I'm EDF Toxic. I feel like I've done this once today, but the stream wasn't. I got 10 minutes and realized that OBS wasn't working things properly, so we'll try this again. Today's a 2-hour track challenge premiere stream. So I'm going to start off with the 2-hour track challenge premiere. So let me switch over here. And yeah, I guess I'll just start again here. Welcome to the 2-hour track challenge premiere for August 23rd, 2019. Every week I try to find a couple hours to make a piece of music within the time limit of 2 hours, see what kind of cool things I can make. Doesn't always turn out cool, but sometimes it does, so I like to share the results with the world, and I do that first on this live on this premiere. So I'll get started by playing the song. This is the song I made on August 23rd. I think I said that already. And then at this point, usually like to take a look back at how I made the track, since I don't record this in any way when I make these songs usually, and it's also been a couple weeks since I made the track, so I find it fun to take a look back at what actually I did here. So let me switch over to Ableton, and. Here's the project. So I didn't have any specific ideas for this one. I had a whole bunch of random ideas. The first one that came to mind, or the first one that I implemented actually, had to do with the drums. This was the week that I had I bashed my foot into a step upstairs, and well, my toe still hurts sometimes, and that was 2 weeks ago. So I was kind of limping around that week, and Even as it was starting to heal, I still limp a bit, or I was starting to walk more normally, but then every once in a while I'd still sort of stumble to the left because the pain just catches me off guard. Um, so I decided to, for the drums, I went into Easy Drummer, grabbed the brush delete. I don't remember if there's a specific reason I chose that. Grabbed Swirls 01, and instead of dragging it down here, I dragged it out here instead. So that I can go in here and let me fold that. And every once in a while, the beat actually sort of stumbles a little bit. Like right there was one of them. And there again. So let's see if I can catch that. No, it's not it. Right there. So I edited the loop a little bit to add a few of these stumbles. And then just looped it over and over again. And I also went into the automation somewhere. Oh, it was here. Went into the automation on the master, and I made it every time the drum stumble, it would go a little bit to the left, actually quite a bit to the left. Just really quick shoot over to the left, just to kind of give that a little bit more of a stumbling feel to the song. So you can kind of see it there, actually. It's the kind of thing that you hear it every once in a while. And it's not too much that it's all on the left. And then on top of that, I took this bass from... was this Retro Machines? Yeah. I was playing around a lot with Retro Machines while I was doing this challenge, because I'd never really used this before, and I was just playing around with a bunch of these presets to see what they sound like. So I found this cool bass sound. Made a cool bass line with it. I guess I tried 8 times to record that. So that's on top of the drums. And then there's also retro strings, which is again from Retro Machines. I got a lot of effects on here, I guess. Actually, this gate here was... yes, I remember this gate. I'd forgotten about this. Did I do that here too? No. On the retro strings track, I have this gate here, this sidechain from the drums. But with Easy Drummer, I don't have, when I'm using Easy Drummer, I don't have an easy way to isolate the kick drum like I do with if I use like an Ableton drum rack. I can easily see when I'm doing sidechain compression. I can say drums and then go in here and say specifically the kick drum. So whenever the kick drum hits, then it compresses this track. I don't exactly have that luxury with this one. So what I did instead was I put it on a gate instead. I sidechained that from the drums, because I noticed with this drum loop, the kick drum is quite a bit louder than the rest of it. All these little brushed swirls are rather quiet here. And the kick drum, which is really only at the beginning of the loop, you can see right around, right there. That big spike there, that's the kick drum. So I set the threshold and all these settings to so that whenever that kick drum kicks in, it cuts off the sound on this on this retro strings track. So that's why it starts off with no sound there. I have a strangely itchy elbow right now. There we go. And then, of course, the lead. And just kind of going straight down all these. This is this Retro Machines again? Yes, it is. Picked another random Retro Machines preset. Sounds something like this. One thing with this is it is a little bit shrill, I know. I was trying to make it not be so shrill when I was working on the song, but it's still a little bit, I think. Even after all this, I have the volume turned down quite a bit. Or a little bit, just to counteract that. But yeah, and then there's reverb, compressor, saturation, looking at the EQ, and a limiter. It's me trying to solve this. But I played all that on the keyboard. Took a few tries for that. And then to add to the cheesy sound, the whole thing has a chorus playing throughout. And this chorus is from Olympus Microchoir. And when I say chorus, I mean choirs. I haven't used this in a while, but I grabbed the full ensemble. From that, and just played the basic chords. Added some, not too many effects on that. Pretty basic stuff. The second part of this verse, the brass comes in. And this here was kind of a, this here along with the fake out ending. Because like, this sounds like the ending there, and then it comes back. And that was actually, there's an old German song called Wie ein Stern by... I never remember his name. It doesn't even say on here. Great. Now I have to look it up. Frank Schubel, that's what it is. It's a really neat song. I quite like it. But it has this really big build up. With I don't know if it's brass, but it's not just brass. There's like drums and stuff. I mean, I think there's some brass in there. But it just really builds up a lot of emotion, and then just stops, and it sounds like the end of the song. And then it just starts singing again. And it does that a couple times, and I really like how it was done in that song. And I listened to that song a couple times during that day. So that's where this whole idea to do this came in. So I created a brass group in the thing. These are, of course, from Symphony series, like usual. Yeah, so I got one of each of those. And it starts off with the trumpets and the trombones. Coming in here. Trumpets and trombones? No, trombones and horns. And then we, at some point the tuba joins in. It's pretty basic. And then the trumpet starts doing their little melody as well. Somewhat of a... I don't know, would that be a counter melody? Come here. Yeah, so I guess it's a little bit of a counter melody to the lead. And then it just builds up to that sort of end. And then, of course, comes back. So when it comes back, this whole section here, all of this right here, is just a copy of the first part. And then so that it doesn't just sound like the song's on repeat, the lead in, I recorded this new lead that leads up to the main lead for the rest of it. The bass line is just a quick, a single note down at the bottom there. Just before the main note that is in the main part that was copied. And the drums, I took the loop and I just dragged it backwards. And it just so happens that there's a stumble in here, right there. So it really, even if the stumbles sort of hide within the song back here, since this is mostly just drums and lead at that point, it really sort of emphasizes the stumble, I think. Really shows it a little bit more. Because in here it just kind of hides. Like it's supposed to be there. Which I don't think it's a bad thing. I actually like that. And then of course it comes to the end again. Which the end is... well, those are just playing chords and a single note for that, since I didn't want to do chords on tubas. And then a held note at the end of the trumpet melody, a held note at the end of the lead, held note at the end of the bass line, and just a single cymbal on the drums. That's a ride cymbal, that's that one there. Very lightly hit. Let me just put that over there. So yeah, that's how the song ends off. So that's about it for the breakdown. The master's not too complicated, just mostly the EQ that I have in there by default, a compressor, limiter, and probably a quick fade out at the end. Yeah, just to make sure there's no sounds hanging around after the song finishes, before the track finishes. But now I need a title for this, and I don't have any ideas, so feel free to suggest ideas, suggest titles here. Might as well throw that in there. Wrong button. I'm thinking something about... How did I walk into a step? Kind of a silly title. Oh yeah, I just remembered the reason I did, the reason I pulled up the brushes kit was because I wanted to do a swing rhythm, and that was just the first thing that came to mind. The reason I wanted to do a swing rhythm was because that kind of simulates limping. Can't type. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that title. How did I walk into a step? So let me switch back here. I've edited that in there. I need to drop it here. How did I walk into a step? And then 823. Export that picture. Yeah, save that. Open up the other document. I'm going to need a screenshot of this. How am I going to do that? Like that. Yeah, that'll do. Just trying to show everything, and I'd like to expand as much as I can, but I obviously can't expand everything, so just sort of picking and choosing what should be expanded and what should stay hidden. So just take a quick picture of this, copy that into here. And this is the thumbnail for this video that I'm currently recording. How did I walk into a step? And that was on August 23rd. Export that to August 23rd. Save. And then I just need to make a quick visualizer, a video for this. I can close this now. Okay, I already replaced those, so I could just paste that in. Cool. Yeah, and I made a 2-hour track challenge the week after as well, August 27th. It is, I just listened to it like half an hour ago, and I already forget what it sounds like. Oh yeah, it's a very fast pace. It's almost an airier mix of sounds. I quite like that one. It's kind of neat. So I'll premiere that on September 11th, 2019 at twitch.tv/addf_toxic. All right. Just switch this back to what it normally is so that I can listen to music on the monitors like I usually do. And then I can close that. I put on some music. I think that's the right setting. We'll see soon enough. I see that command has finished running. That seems to be working. put this away. Yeah, I can minimize that. Exit that. I never did finish setting the tags on that for the stream. Oh, I already did that. That's what I wanted. Update. There we go. Cool. Pull that up. Awesome. So, I've been working on this for a few months, I guess, technically. It kind of became my Wednesday after 2 Hour Track Challenge Premiere project. This is not what I've done. This isn't more of an example. I'm just trying to pull up the notes so I can see what I have to do. Okay. Oh yeah. I guess I should open up the command prompt. Change to documents. Change to 2hack. Node server. So this is the 2 Hour album challenge site as it currently is. It's very static. There's a bit of information here that has to be manually changed by Ben every time the information changes. Stuff like that, and that. That changes every few months. So I wanted to figure out how to make a website using Node.js, because I'm so used to PHP from because that's what we use at work. I wanted to try something else, so I started this project to get an experience. And it's gonna be a bit more dynamic. There's login system, which doesn't actually work yet, although that pops up every time. It just always it tells you you're logged in. It doesn't really. Register works. Yeah, the logged in state is probably something I'm gonna do fairly soon here. But yeah. Essentially, yeah, I'm just building a bit more dynamic version of this site here. So server started, database connected to the database. Good, that's awesome. This is the database server here. So let me go to my code. I have here a note that says load page in client/connection.js. Open should go after initialize is finished. So client connection.js. Open should go after initialize is finished. Oh, right, okay. So what I was doing last time was making it so that the server keeps track of all the clients. So whenever I connect, it knows that I'm connected. It keeps track of a little bit of data about me, like who I'm logged in as, maybe. Although it will also verify that against what I tell it from the client. Let's see here, where... Oh, that's the thing I'm looking for. Oh yeah, and what navigation shows up. Because there's actually another option that can show up over here. If there's a challenge currently going on, this has no idea what it's talking about. It's just placeholder text sort of thing. Anyways, I have this here to send send a little bit of data to initialize the connection with the server. And then I want to wait until that's done before I load this initial page, essentially. So where's the initialize code? Clients.initialize. Oh, right there. Okay, yeah. So it's going to confirm the user verification there as well. Still. Get that. Set the available navigation items. That is not there. I have a comment that describes code that isn't there, but it's working. Where did I put that? Home true. Oh. Home true. I think I did it like that. Figure out which navigation items should be shown. Yeah, so that, all that logic is there, so it doesn't need... The comment is just wrong. But after it initializes, it should send... WS send... I'm trying to remember... I've done something like this before in the navigation. Nope, in the content. Something like that. So I want to send back an action. We'll call this action. Let's do it like this. Action. I don't want to send back a page, or else it will try to. I must have called that something else. What did I call that? That's kind of weird. Core action. That's not what I want. Yeah, oh, page key, that's what it was, okay. So action, this action will be load initial page. So after the connection is initialized, you load the initial page. And that's actually all that I probably need there. Yeah, I just need to tell it to load that initial page. So that means that at this point, that won't be there, and that will instead be load initial page here. That should do. So I'll take that out of there. So essentially that just waits until it gets the okay that you can load the initial page before it actually does so. So let me restart the server. And it fails. Error during action processing. The first argument must be one of type string, buffer, array, or array-like object. Receive type object. Error during action processing. be right around here. No page was there. This is on the server, right? Yeah. Wake up, wake up, wake up. We got the data. Yeah. Give the client to load the initial page now that the connection is properly initialized. Core actions is that there. Very well could be in here too. And that leads to here. So, oh, there's a missing semicolon there. Oh, I know why. That's kind of annoying, actually. Because I need to JSON stringify it. That was here. Nope, that was... Fuck, where was it? It wasn't here, was it? No. Yeah, here it is. So we take that object, turn it into a JSON string, which already looks like to me, but it's not. And then we can go here. Yeah, that's better. Nothing's popping up in the console. That's a good thing. Obviously, there are things popping up here, but I'm gonna not worry about this for now. Right. So I'll just quickly commit that. Postponed loading initial page until connection is confirmed to be initialized. That was too long, so I'll just shorten it. And right now there's no difference there, but I think once I get this verification ID sent in, then there will be a difference. Yeah. Let me do a quick little job here that I see on my list. 146. Go to phpMyAdmin. That is not the password. The password is password. The password is not admin. This... Oh yeah, I guess this isn't all that small. I'm going to change this to a user, not users. And the reason for that is... Hush. When I look at the database... Singular submission here, singular theme here, singular user here, singular user verification here. Or yeah, so this was plural, and it just didn't fit the standards. So now it does. I am going to need to change that here as well. Create tape. Oh yeah, no, that's any query. From users, insert into users.
afternoon, the meditation is all about sort of stopping thoughts.
Right, so let me restart the server.
Getting rid of emotion, somehow controlling the mind. But actually it's quite
That's
different.
good. A at a.a. Cool.
Sort of stepping back.
Try registering as a at a.a.
Clearly.
The email address is already in use. If you already registered, please log into your existing account. Okay, so that is working.
Without judgment.
But if I do...
Relaxed, focused.
How far are we on this? F. If G at G.G. That works as well. They gave me a 404, but that's because I haven't created the account page yet. So what that means is I can now go in here, export the whole database. Just the structure. No comments. Don't need the auto increment value. Don't need those. Go. To hack. Install. To hack that SQL.
You know, we can't change every little thing that happens to us in life. But we can change the way that we experience it.
That's, oh. I guess I should press replace on my other screen there. Right. So that has now changed. This is now the current version of this file. Oh, and user verification never ended up in the database either. Whoops. Or the password. I guess this is a little bit more out of date than I thought. I'll commit this. Updated user table to match singular name standard. Right. Let me take a drink of water, and then we'll dive into logged in state. And I feel like this isn't going to be the last time we see you have to export the database, so I'll just leave those open for now. So let's see here, what do I got? Other than errors. So the verification ID, user ID, I'm just gonna go look at some notes that I have. I'm gonna add one thing here, date verified. So this is essentially the date that the user logged in. Why do I have to sign in? Now I need a 2FA as well. Ugh. Okay. Just gonna AFK just to make sure that personal information doesn't end up on my on stream. It didn't anyway, but you know, I just wanted to be safe. Lock. Cool. What was that notification? Was that lava? Anyways. I want to go to this. And... Oh yeah. Trying to remember how my other project is organized. That's not it. Wait, no, maybe it is. Oh no, I remember. Where is the folder? This is the kind of things that I keep meaning to look at over the week, so I'm not sitting here staring at notes that are off screen, but then I keep forgetting. But also at the same time, I really want to get this login thing working, because that's going to have a big impact on everything else that's coming in this in this project. Because once I get the profile done, then I can properly do the submission form. Actually, I'll probably make a moderator area first. And we can manage the challenges to see if it's a current challenge. And things like that. But anyways, let's worry about verification for now. So... I want to generate a verification ID to store there. I should probably make that primary. That table had no primary key, which is just a bad thing. So that would be on... Oh no, it would be on this side. Yeah, so that would probably be the first thing. Content load. Oh, that redirects the page, right? Essentially, I'm going to be on the client side, everything is going to have to send the verification ID. Part of me wonders if that's necessary. At the same time, it's probably good to, yeah, it's definitely good to double check. I wonder if there's an easy way to send that with everything. No. If I Yeah, no, I'd have to go into all things that have this connection send and add it to all of that. That's okay. But first, let's worry about... Let's make a folder here, verification. Let's make a module here, just keep it a bit organized. Verification.js. And then essentially we'll just have a function. Module exports dot. What are my standards here? Is it yeah, just generate. Because it would be verification.generate. This function. Actually, I'll accept the user ID. As well as, oh well, the data I can figure out in here. So what I'm going to do is this function will generate a verification ID, and it will also store it once it determines that it is valid. So I'll need to var. Oh wait, no. How do I connect to the DB? Because it's not just var DB. That fucks with things. Var DB info, and then when I want to actually connect, it's a whole bunch of stuff. Actually, I could probably accept the database. I could safely do that because we've already verified that the user is valid and authorized in both times that I'm going to need this function. But I guess I should var verification is equal to require dot slash, where am I, dot slash verification.js. That's not right. Another dot slash there is needed. Now I'll put that here. So yeah, verification. And then we'll send verification dot. Oh, I should keep that open because I'll need that. Control-Shift-T, does that work? It does. Cool. Verification.generate for the user ID that is Rose at user ID. So that will just generate it for now. And we'll say I guess something similar to what I just saw with the clients right here. This sort of thing here. Var verification ID equals false. Yeah, copy that. Right, so random function again. Verification ID is equal to that. Oh, wait. So that needs to be an empty string so that I can add a string onto it. And then we'll say var added is equal to false, or generated is equal to false, and while not generated, and that's just so that I can double check that it's not in the database already. We're already connected to the database, so we can say I don't like this being rows. User row. Oh, actually. Var user row is equal to rows at 0. User row. This is going to generate a verification ID, so it's going to return a verification ID, so I'll just put that in there. I guess I'll do that in register as well, but I'll worry about that in a bit. And then we'll do a quick DB query. Select verification ID from user, no. Verification where verification ID is equal to verification ID then we'll say if not error then if there is an error, then that. Do I want to end the DB? Yes, I do. Why does the DB never end here? That's bad. Wait, so I don't want to end the DB in here. MariaDB query error verification dot generate. So if there's not an error, and if rows length. Yeah, rows length is equal to 0.
This is what an Icelandic poet told me once. And I became so scared.
Then that means it doesn't exist. Therefore, I can insert it. Oop. db.query insert into user verification. So that's that table there. So I need a verification ID, a user ID, and a date verified. And we'll do the values of question mark, and question mark, which will be filled in by verification ID, user ID, user ID. Got this weird difference of standards between column naming in a database and variable naming within a within the rest of the code. So that just threw me for a loop there for a second. And then the date that it was verified, and this is something that I really quite like more in PHP, because I could just say time. But to get the thing I want here, it was something about new date. That's all I remember. Math floor, new date divided by 1,000. Because I don't need it to be as specific as new date gives me. Then function error rows. If not error. Function verification generate, checking existing. Else would do the same, except inserting. Yeah, we'll just write the verification ID to the console. And actually, because I like it better, verification ID base is equal to nothing, and then we'll make the verification ID. You know what? I don't know what I'm doing. I was gonna do some sort of crazy shit with base 64 in code, but screw it. I just think base 64 looks cool. It's pretty easy to decode, and then you see the verification anyway. It's just a different look, essentially. Boom, boom, boom. How have I only taken 3,000 steps today? Oh, right, because I sat down all day. Right, so insert that. If there's not an error inserting, there is a high possibility of an infinite loop here. I mean, not a high possibility, but if something goes wrong, then there's definitely an infinite loop here. I should probably return verification ID here. But this is where we'll say generated is equal to true. Right. So we'll need to send back the verification ID as well here to the client, so the client can store it. In one of two ways. But we'll worry about that in a minute. For now, let's just see if this does anything. Oh, my database connection just threw a shit fit. Okay. Right, so login is a@a.a. Error connection processing. Stay logged in false. Missing parenthesis after argument list. So that's probably the database. Query. Maybe not. No, where would that be? Oh, I should probably send the database in if I'm asking for the database. That seems right. It's an error during action processing, so it's not a MariaDB query error. Where am I missing an end parenthesis? because that one's there. I also added these, but those are right. Did I define this before? I did not. I should probably do that. Okay, let me just try commenting that out, see if it fixes anything. No. So it had nothing to do with that. What else did I change? That whole file. They require edit the variable for user row. Hey, dingus. Use it. There's nothing else. What the actual hell? That closes. Let me try just disabling that line altogether. A at A.A. Verification is not defined. Yeah. Restart the server. A at A.A. Okay, so it is something in there apparently. Let's see here. What else could be missing? Apparently that... Oh, okay, that gave me a hint. What does it think that's closing? That's closing nothing, apparently. I happen to disagree. There's a missing semicolon there. Though I get the impression that's not the problem. There it is. That's better. So let me restart the server. Refresh. Try logging in. Well, it hasn't yelled. Oh, now it's yelling a whole shit ton. Very long string. Okay. Clearly I have an infinite loop. Probably in here. Hey, Doko. I am working on a bit more dynamic version of on this site here. This is the 2-hour album challenge site. We do this every few months where we get together as a community. We'll all make a song in 2 hours and then put all that into an album. And this is a very static website that been put together just to get some information out there. But I wanted to see if I could make something a little bit more dynamic, have a login and users area, and and stuff like that. At the same time, learn how to make something using Node.js. So I am using a lot of JavaScript, yes. I'm more used to using PHP at work. So this is something different to learn. Right, so let's see here. I am a developer for work, yeah. I wonder if it's... Well, it should console error. Why is there a semicolon missing there? There should be a semicolon there. This is also a bug here, in that should be reset every time, which could potentially cause this problem. But I think there's still something else going on here. And it's just not spitting any errors for whatever reason. Because everything else here should have an else. Oh, this doesn't have an else. Well, it shouldn't actually. But I'll console log. Hey, there are rows. Just to see if it's somehow getting there. Oh, it's yelling again. JavaScript heap out of memory. Verification JS at line approximately 1. Wait, where actually... Oh, there it is. I thought it was about to tell me more information. I'm guessing you're a developer too. What language are you comfortable in? Yeah, it's definitely not getting there. That has an else. That has an else. Something's definitely going wrong here. I'll just can't stop that before it blows up again. Let me console log here. So every time it goes through, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, it's definitely generated in a whole bunch of times. For whatever reason. That would explain why it's complaining that it's out of memory. See here. Oh yeah, okay. Nice. So let's see. How long have you been in school so far? Console log. Hi 1. Programming's fun, and when it doesn't work, debugging gets interesting sometimes. I tend to do a lot of things like this just to see where it's getting. Try to trace where my code's going. I mean, pretty sure it's not getting there. Because I'd see the console error. Yeah, sure. Actually... I still have where I started. When I was when I was really young, I wanted to get into game design. And I figured I'd have to start learning programming. My parents got me this thing here. And I read some of it. At some point there was something that the computer wasn't doing that I wanted it to do. Like, I think I wanted some sort of fancy system to organize the to-do... Oh, no, a top 10 list is what it was. I didn't have any software like that, so I tried making it myself. And, well, I never did finish that. But I made a few other programs like that, and eventually I just found myself really enjoying making productive stuff like that more than games. I was, I think, grade 8 when that all happened. And then in high school I took a programming class, although I pretty much knew everything already. And then I went to post-secondary for 3 years because I tried one program and then switched to a different program to learn about, well, programming. And then eventually got this job. Actually, it was still have that old computer in the corner. About there, I think it still works. This is my first laptop, so I haven't been able to throw it away yet. Even though I've moved on from it. First class. Oh, yeah, nice. I don't know. If you have to look up code, I guess just make sure that you understand what you're reading rather than just copy it. Because you will have to look up code. I still look up code all the time. But yeah, just really make sure that you understand what you're doing, because I know a lot of, one of my earlier projects, it might have even been the top 10 list. I had I was trying to figure out how to write a file, and I found like 5 different pieces of advice. Didn't understand any of them, but somehow managed to mash them together into this piece of code that just made no sense at all. So I went into some old forum and I asked posted my code there, and they're just like, yeah, that makes no sense here. Let's just start from the beginning. Somebody helped me from the beginning to understand it, which was really quite nice. High 0. Yeah, absolutely. I guess with anything, don't be afraid to ask for help. but also understand what you need help with, I guess, too. Because you see so often that people will ask for help and their question doesn't make sense because they don't even understand it, I think. Right, so this is printing high zero a whole shit ton of times. Which means that it's not even getting into here. Oh, crap. I swear I make this mistake every week with this project. I have another project that I'm working on in PHP. Really it's just to learn something else, but the big thing that pushed me towards doing this in Node instead was I really don't like CSS, especially vanilla CSS, so I use Bootstrap, which I learned how to do at work. With Bootstrap, there are dependencies that the easiest way to install it, the easiest way to handle some of these dependencies in Bootstrap is with npm. Yeah, for some reason that just auto-completed to there. This package manager. So that's based on Node. And it was kind of weird adding some of the Node dependencies because I didn't actually add those in the early days of that other project. So yeah, I installed Node, and it was just kind of weird, basically creating a Node project that's really a PHP project. So that was kind of the big thing that made me want to try making a proper Node project that is not actually a PHP project. And hence, here we are. And there are a lot of things that in PHP that I actually like better, even though like PHP is worthy of making fun of a lot of times, but so is JavaScript. This whole thing here. If this was PHP, I'd just do that. And I like that a lot better. Unfortunately, this is not PHP, so I have to do that. Right, so I suspect that the issue here is that the database isn't actually being passed through, so I'm gonna recreate the database in the function instead. And I'll do that right here. Nope, I will not. That is how you waste the memory. Do that before the loop. The environment, I see you have VirtualBox. Yeah. With PHP, I guess that's another thing that kind of bugged me about, oh yeah, no, that, absolutely not, feel free to ask questions like that. I have this bad habit of getting sidetracked right when a message comes in and then forgetting what I was actually saying. But yeah, so this, when I'm doing my PHP project, I use VirtualBox for that. Just because I don't like running a full PHP server right on my desktop. But with Node, it's a little bit easier to do, so this is actually where the Node server is. So if I can just say, right, Node server, then that launches the server. But the VirtualBox here, this is actually my database server. And the reason I do that in a separate server is, again, I just don't like that. I'd rather this stuff be on a separate virtual machine rather than on my main machine. It is a Linux server, yeah, Ubuntu server. 2hackadmin is my password here. I do, yeah. A little bit. I'm by no means a Linux expert. But I do like to, I do like some things about Linux, like ls. That is so much easier than typing dire. I quite often will go to a Windows command prompt and type ls and then become sad. And you can actually see there I do have I was kind of messing around with putting this putting the code into the virtual machine as well, but that has complications of its own. No, my work computer, well, I have two work computers because my position. One of them runs Windows, the other one runs Mac. Just because I'm the guy that deals with the Windows applications, and I have a big hand in the iOS development as well. So they have both for me. Linux, we're not really. I don't think any of our. Well, maybe some. I can't think of any of our customers that I know use Linux a lot. So there's really no point to us having a Linux. And let me take out all these. Right, so didn't I just say that I figured out what the problem was and it's not this? Wait, no. I didn't, did I? Console... Hi 1. Let me see. Yeah, I did, exactly. Though my, most recent, test doesn't exactly back up my theory, so that has me a little bit concerned. Genius. Where is... There it is. Oh, wrong line. Copy that line. Node server. Error during action processing. Yeah, that's probably not high security there. Cannot find mod. Oh, okay. Where am I? Oh, wow. Okay. Right there. There it is. MariaDB is not defined. Maybe I should define that as well. I find it really weird that it's not console logging hi 1. Both, actually. I work from home, but I also keep a schedule of 8 to 4 so that all of us do, so that we're still essentially in the office at the same time. It's just that we don't see each other face to face every day. Instead, we chat with each other over instant messaging. And that's just because we don't have all that many employees, so there's never. I never felt the need to have an external office. A little bit of extra overhead. log db. No, don't do that. db. Right, so there's db. And it's logging that over and over again. There does seem to be something proper, but I'm still not seeing. It's like it's not getting into this function. The structure in JavaScript has always been kind of weird to me, but I've gotten used to it over time. So I kind of forgot how weird it was. Oh, db2. var db equals... Okay, let's try that. I don't know if that will make a difference, but we'll see. React mostly, but that's JavaScript. Other than that, I don't really. Well, ASP.NET. I really don't like ASP.NET either. Not on the programming side. I play Minecraft, but that's about it. This line should look the same as it just did. But I'm also not convinced that it's doing what it should. Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky when you want to do something in a certain language and you don't know that language. Like, I know C# quite well, but I wanted to make a plugin for Foobar 2000 at some point in time, and you need to know C++ for that, and I mean, it should be easy, but I just couldn't figure it out, and I think that's because I tried learning it. I didn't learn the basics first. I just tried diving straight into this practical application using C++, and I just couldn't figure it out. Var loop counter is equal to 0, and loop counter is less than 10. If it needs to go around this loop more than 10 times, then it's just screwed up. Yeah, I got a NAS in the other room. Not set up the best, but it holds my files. Oh, and I should probably increment that loop counter. Oh, now it yells. Weird. Very weird. So there was a query error, it just didn't want to tell me for whatever reason. Inserting that gibberish duplicate entry. There's one entry. I was trying to insert that same thing over and over again. Loops, I tell you. SQL database, yeah. I used to use like flat files. And then I just got so used to SQL at work, and I just like it so much better. Although I don't, sometimes I don't always use it to its fullest potential. But it works for storing my files. Or for storing my data. Okay, let me delete that. Log in as A again. So it's inserting it. And then it's right, so there's the insert. And if there's not an error, let me change the loop counter limit to 1. Then it changes generated to true. Oh, that's not what I wanted. PHP MyAdmin is not supposed to do that, by the way. I clearly don't have something set up right, but despite that, it's working. Oh, browse. Yeah, so it did insert that. Oh, here, let's, console.log. Since I'm learning this as I go, there's a lot of console.log, like, what is actually in here. Just me trying to learn what it actually just happened. Trying to understand what my code actually does, because I know what I think it does. But I'm usually not right. Node server. Why did you do that?
Get ready to fly.
Getting ready to fly? I wonder if he kept note of where that samples from. Two. Whenever he releases the albums, he always has this thing here. So this is terminal velocity. There it is. See what he says about this. This whole album is stuff that was done in 2 hours. The voice stuff halfway through so cheesy. I'll have to ask him about that later. Because that sounds like a sample that's in another song that I know. Yeah. Yeah, he just did his, he's been doing that for a few years, making a song in 2 hours every week. He, just earlier today, he did his 200th song. 200 2-hour track challenge. So yeah, that's quite a lot. This is the same guy that puts this event together, by the way. Right, so I wanted to check. I was in the middle of typing a fake email address. So it is getting the verification ID back. It's just for some reason not exiting the loop. Not generated. Generated is equal to true. So let's see here. Console.log. Generated. Is generated. If not generated. Plus the verification ID. I am standing up, yeah. I got a chair back here as well if I need to sit down, but I tend to stand up at this desk a lot. Oh, log in. Just looking for stuff in the console. Right, so not generated, but it knows it. It is not. It's actually a custom built wooden desk, and it's also very wide. Trying to get it to move up and down was just too much of a challenge for this DIY desk, so we just made really tall legs. And then with the chair, this is added onto the chair in between the wheels and the bulk of the chair, just to give it that extra height as well, to bring it up to the right height. Yeah. So we made the desk taller, and we also made the chair taller. Engineering level, what is that, 100,000? Yeah. We did also get that chair idea from Instructables. But before that, it was actually one of the higher ups at work also has a stand-up desk, and they're also like really nice wooden desks that they have at HQ. And yeah, they got these desks built shortly before I built this desk. So the legs are inspired by the desks at HQ. And then when I realized that I wanted to make it a standing desk, I looked at the photos of HQ again, and realized that the standing desk there is really just the same thing. It's just got longer legs, so we just extended the legs. Right, so, what did I learn here? Oh, right, okay, so the verification ID... Yeah, so it is... The problem, I think the problem is what I was thinking earlier, in that this is asynchronous. So what's happening is it starts this function here to run the query, and then while it's running, it continues on. So at that point, it's not generated, but then once this query runs, then it runs this function here. That's what I mean by asynchronous. So this was running in the background. Once it's done, it does all this. So we get through that, and then this runs in the background. Once that's done, then we get to this. But by the time we get to this function here, we've already gotten to this point and checked checked if there's a verification ID generated, which at that point it was not, because neither of these had finished running yet. So I'm gonna have to deal with this by taking this from a different angle. And instead of sending the verification ID back, because essentially what I was going to do here is, once I get the verification ID here, show the message, I was going to send the verification ID back to the client, then show the message, then redirect the page. What I was just thinking is I'll have to, in here, once we confirm that the verification ID is generated, then this will send that data back, which I think I'll still have to do, but I'm also going to send this here. Just so that happens after the verification ID is sent back. So I'm kind of looking at two sides here, the server and the client. So the server sends data to the client, so the client knows what to do, what to show to the user, essentially. So I'm going to have to do this by... I guess I can change that back to sending in the database. The collision detection is going to have to rely on recursion. Oh god, that's scary. When you learn recursion in class, don't freak out if you don't understand it at first. Just try again. It's I find it quite fun, but it's one of those things that a lot of people have trouble wrapping their head around. Don't be scared. Most of it's pretty easy. Just step-by-step sort of stuff. Recursion just gets kind of meta. I also think I'm the only one at work that genuinely enjoys recursion. So whenever there's something that needs recursion, it's like, I don't know if they know that, but I tend to get those tasks. So anyways, let's start in one place here. We need the WS and the finished. Or the generated, I'll call it. So I need to send WS, and then function. So this function here is what's going to happen when, once it's generated. And that's what I'm going to put in here. Does that work? WS send. That's the only variable. I think that carries over, so that should be good. I should probably let the DD end in here. Off. And then in here, so at this point we'll say generated. But before that, WS is going to send. Yep, semicolon's in the wrong place. The same one. This is Adam. We used to use what was it called? Coda. But things changed, and Coda is actually only Mac OS. So didn't really work all that well on Windows. I guess I should I'll rename that. Take away the classic do while loop. I want to send a message that says set verification ID. Yeah, the action being that. And then the verification ID will be verification ID. I don't like that name, so I'm just going to change that up a bit. All right. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. It was fun chatting. Have a good dinner. Later. Actually, I'm gonna be closing this pretty soon too. It is getting mega late for me. So let's see here. Ungenerated. So I think that's most there. Oh, if row's length equals 0, that means that there was none. If it's greater than 0, or if it's not 0, which should mean greater than 0. Then we'll say this is the recursion. Generate. Actually, this solves another problem I had here, just mentally, while I was trying to figure out how this thing will work. But I gotta say if, I gotta tries ++, so increment tries, and then we'll say if tries is greater than or equal to 10. Oh wait, no. If tries is less than 10. Then we're gonna try again. Generate. Oh. DB user ID WS on generated. And apparently I just fail at recursion because this should definitely go in here or else it's not going to get carried forward. Tries. So that will give it a maximum of 10 tries. If it can't get it within that, then instead of logging in, we're going to send an error message. Just telling the user that the login failed. Just give it a generic fail message. An error occurred. While applying your logged in state. Log in, that's too techie sounding for the user. While logging you in. And I'll also console error that. Just checking if I usually console error before or after. Not that it matters. I just like to keep things standard. Yeah, so console error. Cannot find a verification ID for to log user ID. Doing that user ID in as. Do I usually put periods in those? Yes. No. No. So let's see here. Helps if I turn the server on. It crashed because my hacky database setup, I think. A MariaDB.create connection in. Oh, shit. I don't need that anymore either. And that's same thing twice. Node server. Let's see how that works. It doesn't. Wait, maybe it did. A at A.A. Yeah, it's doing nothing. Where are you stuck? Let's see here. .log failed try. I feel like that's not it, but I'll check anyway. Yeah, okay. Console log hi 1. These are such a pain to put in. But they can also be really helpful. Oops. Hi 4. Hi 5. Hi 5. That's funny that that's actually the success. Hi 6 plus tries. Just so that it tells me how many tries. Woo! Oh, and I should probably put a high 0 here. Oh. Console log high 0. Start the server, refresh the page, a at a.a. That's the wrong password. There it is. Okay, so I got a high 0. Anything else? No. So maybe sending the database in like that isn't actually working. Like I thought it was. I think I assumed it was based on another problem popping up. Not very crazy about building this database object twice, but I think that is the problem, though. Now that I think of it. Alright, that did something. Error during action processing. Cannot find... Oh, that again. Whoa, that was weird. I like it. JSON.encode. Oh, wow. Glorious. That is not even remotely close. Where was that? JSON.stringify is the function name. Oh, finish it. Now I'm opening foobar again. A. You have been logged in. Right, I don't want to do that. Right, so where is that? Verification. So it sends in... Oh. That's why that worked. I wish I could work on this all day sometimes. User verif... Oh, really? Password. Truncate this. So I can test that it's actually working. Browse. It has inserted one. Cool. Why does this work so much better than at work? I can't do that at work. I wish I could do that at work. I'm gonna put this book away. It's weird not being able to see down that hallway anymore. Because when my camera was there, you could. I still find this camera position a little bit weird. But I don't really have anywhere better that I can put it at the time. Right. So, let's see if I can quickly apply this. Actually, let me just for the sake of testing, Verification ID is equal to a load of rubbish, just so that it generates the same one every time. Invalid core action received, yeah, I know. I'll worry about that in a bit. You know, I don't think this is ever going to happen, but, you know, I just want to test that it handles it properly if it does. So that just inserted a load of rubbish, literally. And then that's going to try. Oh, nope. Generate, oh, okay, yeah, see. That's why you test. How do I call generate? Where is that? Node.js, module exports recursion. Oh, sorry, okay. Gotta do the module exports. That makes sense, actually. So, start the server back up. It failed. WS send is not a function. So it did try to send an error message then, but for whatever reason, WS didn't get passed along properly. That's really weird. Console log WS. That is a big object.
Not exactly clear whether they even truly
And I
exist,
think
but
it's
could
saying
be
that
shown
2
in
is WS the second time. Oh, yeah, okay, I see why. I changed the function signature and forgot to remove that argument that I removed.
That's great. But if not,
So get rid of this because I really don't need it. An error occurred while logging you in. If you have a chance, please let us know. And it says over here, cannot find verification ID to log user 2 in as.
a tiny thing, a septillion times smaller than the tiny planet it lives on.
Now that I read that, it sucks.
Discovered something true.
So that's pretty close to what I want. The only thing is, it should also on failed. And we'll do that here. Oh, geez, this should definitely not say while logging you in, because that assumes that this is a login, which it not necessarily is. Because this could be called from the registration script as well. So instead here we'll do on failed, and then we'll let whatever called it handle that. So that would be not there. There. Function WS send show message and error occurred while logging in. If you have a chance, please let us know. And then we'll also say, where's that set form? There it is.
If one day physics finds a use for them, that's great.
So that way it,
That's great too.
server's not on. A@A.A. Shit broke because I didn't change the function, the way the function is used everywhere. Because it's sending tries into on failed here. Got to pass that along. Oops. Control C doesn't refresh the page. Right, so an error occurred while logging you in. The form reactivates. I can try again. It fails again. Right, so now we can say if tries is less than 5. This is again a test piece of code. I wonder if I should log any codes that it did find collided. Nah, I don't think that's needed. So this now should oh well, I gotta refresh because the connection just kind of dies. That did work, although it should have failed a few times first. So yeah, that's good. And the fails were all silent. So let's see here. Login. Oh, login. A@A.A. I should really fix that. It logs in. Boom. Okay, so just commit that. Generated verification ID on login. And then essentially I'm going to do the same thing in the register script, except with a couple with different functions essentially. So where was that? Oh, this DB end should not be there. Should be here, and also this should have DB end here, and this should have DB end here, because those are the two exit points. Oh, actually, the DB is regenerated every time, so DB end there. Because that will end here as well when it gets to here. So let's see here, DB end. Yeah, so I'll take that, copy it to here, and then on the success, instead of you have been logged in and go to home, your account has been registered, and go to your account, because that's what happens after registration is successful. And then for if there is an error, trying to generate that. Your account has been registered, but to log you into it because of a technical error. trying to not be too much, say too much in those things. But yeah, and then here, instead of telling it to clear the form, because that kind of, or re-enable the form, because that kind of tells the user that they need to re-register, which they don't. Their account doesn't exist. We'll just send them to login so that they can try again there. So let's try that. Register. How many users do we got? I think we have G users. G, yep. We have G, H. H at H dot H. H, H. Fail. 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 Oh, right. I forgot about that. User row is equal to rows at 0. And my iPad is telling me to go the hell to bed. I really should go to bed before I stay up too late again. But I want to finish this little bit, okay? What am I looking at? Verification generate user row at user ID. Oh, wait. The user ID would be... Wait. I don't know how this works. Console log rows. It's still going to bitch at me, but... H I at I dot I'm gonna run out of letters eventually. Affected rows 1 insert ID. That's what I want. The insert ID. Yeah. So that should really say result. It's kind of a bad copy paste. Then we'll say result at insert, how'd they spell it? Insert ID, like that. So that will get the ID, the primary ID of the item that was just inserted, which is what I need. So, Hij, J, and it goes into account. Awesome. And the account has been registered. But now, if I do that same thing here, where I say that verification ID is equal to a load of rubbish. HJK. Oh, I should refresh everything here. K.K. Oh, that sounded bad. It tells me that your account has been registered, but we were unable to log you into it because of a technical error. Okay. I don't like the wordiness. Log you in because of a technical error. That sounds better. HJK L at L.L LL. Your account has been registered, but we were unable to log you in because of a technical error. If you have a chance, please let us know. And it does tell us here, could not find a verification to log user 13 in using. And it takes you to login so that you can try again. Which is exactly what I wanted. So I'll delete that line there. lm m at m.m, and it works again. Cool. So I'll git commit, set verification, or generated verification ID on registration, upon registration. The next thing I'm going to really quickly do here is in the function itself, if we find that it is in fact good, and we'll say if there's not an error. This is just protection against an extra race condition, because it checks here if the verification ID exists, and if it doesn't, then it inserts it. But there is that very, very slight possibility that in between the time that it checks if it exists and the time that it inserts it, that somebody else also inserts that exact same key. Even though it's random, there's such a low possibility of them picking the same thing. But you never know. And that's called a race condition. You go research operating system design. There's entire chapters of textbooks of how to avoid those. I'm going to do something really simple here, and I'll check first. And if it doesn't, if there's a collision, then it'll just go straight to the next one. If there's not, then I'll try inserting. And if it does insert and there is a collision there, I'm sure MySQL has a better handling of race conditions, because technically there could be a race condition there too. Then it will give an error that says that entry already exists, and in that case, it will actually not loop, because I forgot how to build a loop. So I'm going to make a function for that so that it's reduce duplication of code, and I'll call the function retry, and retry will just be right here. Oops, var retry. Oh my god, that's not how you spell retry. Retry equals function, and it will need all this stuff here so that it can pass it along. And that way I can call retry here as well. Oh, and I'll retry this as well. So every time it somewhat fails, it will retry. If it still fails 10 more times, or 9 more times, 9 more times, then it will super fail. So yeah, in here, we'll say once we definitely confirm that this is not taken, it's not bitching anywhere, just before we send it to the user, we'll also send it to store it in the WebSocket. And I think that's what I called it. No, it's user verification. WS at user verification is equal to verification ID. That way the WebSocket on this side also stores that verification is associated with that WebSocket. I'm just going to take a quick note here before I forget to stop requiring page refresh after server restart. Because I think that's gonna mess with me later, and this is gonna take some brain breaking again. Because it took some brain breaking to figure out that whole system to begin with, and there's still a bug in there, so it's kind of a central bug. So we'll have to break the brain again. So let me just do a quick test here. A. Cool. That still works. Oh, Technofrog. Oh, and we can see that it actually did work because I forgot I actually put that in there. And then, no, not that navigation. In this navigation here, where it says, this is where it determines what should actually show up here. Register should not show up if the WebSocket has a user verification. And now that it's been stored to the WebSocket, those things are not showing. So that was unexpected, but I guess I was thinking ahead there. Let's see here. Added. I turned my camera up too high, didn't I? Yeah. Added verification ID to WS on server side after generating. Now I did also mention that there's going to be verification here, so this, like, we're going to receive a verification ID in data. I'm not going to do this tonight because I really need to go to bed. But essentially here, maybe I'll just write some pseudocode. Receive verification ID in data. Check if verification ID from data matches WS. If not a match, set WS at verification ID to oh, someone's fucked there. Because this is... Oh, this is initialize. That shouldn't happen here, should it? To nothing, essentially. I see that album ended. That's okay. I'm closing soon anyway, and I'll just play the song on Premiere today anyway. So the below. Oh wait, no. Oh yeah, so this is initialized. So this is when you first load the page. It gives you that. It loads it into the WebSocket or the WS itself, the connection itself, and then every time you load a page past that, it makes sure that you're still using the same verification ID. So that would be here. right? I shouldn't be thinking about this right now because that's just going to break my brain. Everybody hurts. I don't know why I'm saying that. Maybe send user an error and set client-side verification ID to as well, because empty means not logged in, essentially. On client side, confirm user verification on server side. Those are the next two things that I have on my to-do list. I just put them there, expanded from the very broad thing I wrote earlier. Let me just make sure that I didn't somehow fuck things up. I just moved a comment, but you know, it's good to double check these things sometimes. Oh no, copyright strike. No, Ben won't strike me for that. So, added pseudocode for confirming user verification upon accepting new message. It's going to be pretty simple, I think, to do that, but we'll worry about that next week because I really should go to bed. But yeah, so that's pushing. Close that. That is done pushing. You know what I never did is export this database again. Because I really should do that. Just in case the computer crashes or whatnot. But no, I wanted to save that to the file. I don't need those. Go. Why are you grouped by something? Right, so replace that. What actually changed here? Added the verified date. Oh shit, that's not right. I didn't want auto increment values. Go. Try that again. That's better. Made user verification table usable. Should have committed that earlier, but I forgot, so that's okay. Push that in case the computer crashes. Then GitHub will have it. I can close this and this. Don't close that. Shut down this. Sudo shutdown h0. Try the right password, which that was not. Still need that. Don't need all that. That's done pushing. Right. Once this loads, there we go. Okay, hang on. That sounds really weird to me. I'm just gonna grab my earbuds. I'm partially just also trying to make sure this video worked, which I'm sure it did, but you know. Yeah. Yeah, it helps when I actually have proper audio volumes, because my setup before just did not. So yeah, anyways, that's gonna be the end of the stream. So thank you for watching. Thanks for hanging out, chatting. I'll be back with another 2-hour track challenge premiere next Wednesday, and then I'll work on that site again. And in the meantime, I do also have a weekend stream this week, this coming weekend, probably Saturday, unless I change my mind last minute and go for a bike ride because the weather looks nicer or something. Actually, I'll check the weather right now. Saturday looks like the nicer day. Although it's still pretty. You know what? Yeah, I'll figure it out. If I don't stream on Saturday, then should be on Sunday. Playing some Half-Life 2, because, yeah, been playing through that. Anyways, I'm just rambling now. I'll catch y'all later. Have a good life.